Hey everyone, welcome to episode 12 of the Vegan Breakthrough podcast. And today our guest is Kirly-Sue, a food columnist, a vegan cook, TV presenter, a vegan expert and author. Sue, hello, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Sergey?
Very, very good. So happy to have you here on this show.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you please tell us, so you have been, before becoming vegan, you have been vegetarian for 20 plus years, right?
Yes, I was. I wasn't born into a vegetarian family or vegan family. I was born into a family of meat eaters. So when I was 18, I decided I wanted to be a vegetarian. And then about 4 years ago, 4 years ago in November this year, I became a vegan.
Wonderful. I assume you became vegetarian for health reasons, right?
Yes, mainly. My religious background is Seventh-day Adventist. I was born and I'm a practicing Seventh-day Adventist. A lot of Seventh-day Adventists are vegetarian and vegan. The religion doesn't say you have to be, but it does promote it very much so you get a lot of vegetarian and vegan. So I've always grown up in the church, so I've always known about vegetarian and veganism and so forth. More recently, when I decided to become a vegan, I was watching Forks Over Knives and I read the book The China Study, and that's what kind of led me to becoming a vegan.
Wonderful. And how did your family members and your friends, how did they react on your decision to become vegan?
Because I switched from vegetarian to vegan, it wasn't such a big deal because they always knew that I had a specific diet. My dad kind of jokingly said, "Oh, you've gone from bad to worse from vegetarian to vegan," but he was fine with it because he does see, when I became a vegetarian, he said, "I think that's actually a good idea. It's very healthy." Nothing really. Everyone's fine. My family are very supportive. When we have family meals like Christmas and so forth, they will make things for me because my older sister, Audrey, is a vegetarian. Mm-hmm. And I've got 3 sisters, and my 2 younger sisters, they are not vegetarian or vegan, but they are flexitarians, I would say. So if there's a good vegan or vegetarian option, they're more than happy to have it. And they like to try out cooking vegan meals. So family-wise, I've got very good support. And even when I go to Jamaica on holiday each year, and even my family there, they're really good at making vegan meals. And when you stay in hotels in Jamaica, most of them are really good with vegan options. So,
yeah, and I was watching on your YouTube channel, you have reviews, walkthroughs and reviews on those hotels. And you're saying that even though sometimes there are not much vegan options in some hotels, you can always ask cooks to create something for you, right?
Definitely, because I've done a review of the Holiday Inn in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and they're okay with the vegan options, but they do sometimes on some days there's not much, and you just go and tell them and they're more than happy to make something for you. But when I stayed at the Hilton Rose Hall, that was brilliant. They had vegan options. The only thing they didn't have, and this is just kind of a minor thing, is vegan butter, but they had everything else. And you can buy vegan butter in the supermarket in Jamaica anyway, and they have a few different brands as well. So staying in a hotel, it's fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you still have family in Jamaica?
Yes. When I go and visit them, when I go to Jamaica, I do half and half. I visit family, but I like to stay in a hotel as well.
Right. Okay. So obviously veganism is getting more and more support in England, and it's so great to see that success that veganism is having in Great Britain. What can you say about Jamaica? Are there any vegans in Jamaica?
Oh, yes, definitely. There is a religious group in Jamaica called the Rastafarians. A lot of people know them, have heard of them. The Rastas, they usually have their hair in dreadlocks.
So Ital food.
Yeah, they are vegan, and they're not just vegan, they're whole food. They don't have any processed food. They like fresh things. They won't even have tofu because tofu is quite heavily processed. They're totally vegan. So they have lots of restaurants up and down Jamaica. So any one of their restaurants you can go into and, you know, have lots of great choices. Veganism is on the rise because I filmed a cooking show in Jamaica earlier this year, and I got in touch with the Vegan Society of Jamaica, and they were really helpful in helping me to find some different places that I could film for the vegan show. And there's also a rise in different Whole Food stores, because there's a place in Montego Bay called Right Life Eatery. Right spelled WRIGHT, because that's the lady who owns its surname. Right Life Eatery. Brilliant. It's got like all sorts of different fresh juices, raw food options, ginger shots and stuff like that as well. It's really great. So yes, veganism is on the rise in Jamaica, definitely.
Okay, it's so great to hear that, but I'm a little bit surprised. And is it the same? What do you think? Is it the same for other Caribbean countries, or Jamaica is a little bit different?
I don't know, but at a calculated guess, I would say the other Caribbean countries in varying degree, because there's quite a lot of different countries, and the Caribbean countries, there's English speaking, French speaking and Spanish speaking, and it will vary depending on which ones they are and so forth. But I would say in many of them, they will be quite accommodating, because they're very big on tourism. So they always want to make sure the tourists have a good time. Right. And I'm sure you can always go on TripAdvisor and ask, and you can always look on YouTube like you did and saw my video about staying in a particular hotel, or contact the hotel and just say, what options do you have? And nowadays I find that most places are accommodating. I have been to a couple of countries where it was like I was speaking another language that they didn't understand when I talked about veganism. It was unbelievable. They had absolutely no options whatsoever. So that was like a starvation trip. But most places are really good.
Okay, wonderful. Can you please tell us more about your book on Amazon? What's the name of it, and what recipes does it have in it?
I've got a number of books on Amazon, actually. I've got 4. So I've got Vegan Cooking Made Easy. So that one is if you're new to veganism and you think, right, I want to start, but I don't know how to start, that's the perfect one. I've also got Kirly-Sue's Sweet Treats. So if you want to have, because sometimes people struggle with what to make for desserts. So that's another one. Kirly-Sue's Midweek Meals as well. And that one is if you in the middle of the week and you want to do something vegan and you're like, I don't know what to make. That will have something like curried red lentils and potato bake. And my signature book, my first book, Kirly-Sue's Kitchen, which is on Amazon as well. Kirly spelled Kirly, Kirly-Sue's Kitchen. That one has lots of things in it, like apple, mango and pineapple crumble, vegan Jamaican patties, all sorts of that, butter bean falafel, so all sorts of tasty treats. And I'll try to use ingredients that can be found anywhere in the world and that are ingredients that people are usually familiar with. So I don't want to make vegan cooking a challenge. I want it to be something that people think, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, I could do that, to make it a good experience.
Okay, perfect. So your recipes can also be found in some magazines, right?
Yes, I have a column in a newspaper that's coming out. It's a newspaper. I've just partnered with a media company called Argent, and they produce newspapers and magazines. So I don't know the name of the magazine because they produce a number of them yet that it's going into. But I've produced ones for Take a Break magazine. They do all kinds of recipes, but I supply the vegan ones for them. And for the Archant Media one, I've got a food column. So all the recipes going into the food column are obviously vegan, and they're more than happy with that because they said, yeah, that would be great. And if you can just write a little blurb at the top, some information about what you like about the recipe, how you came to do it as well. So people are getting more and more open to vegan options.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And can you please tell us more about your interactive workshops, how to become a vegan?
All right. I run those, and I run those workshops because a lot of people ask me that very same question. I want to be a vegan, but I don't know how. So I usually run the workshop, and I usually ask at the beginning, what has brought you here today? And it's a really interesting question to ask, because when people tell you why they're there, it's a lot of the times it's quite sad reasons. One couple, it was a brother and sister, came to one of my workshops and they said, the reason we're here is because so many of our family members have died of cancer. And their father had just died of cancer. And they said, we know it's got something to do with food and we don't want it to happen to our generation. So we're here to learn, how can we cut out meat? That's what we want to do. So I thought, oh, okay. And a lot of people have said that similar things about, it's usually related to health, why people come. A lot of the time it's health reasons. So in the workshop, I talk people through it. I say, I tell them a little bit about the history of veganism in the UK, a little bit about my story of how I came to be a vegan, some quick tips on how to begin, where you get your protein from, and so forth, where to find resources like websites and books and videos and things like that, which Facebook pages they can join. And I have a little quiz in there because I say you have to always be an ingredient spy, because whenever you buy anything now, turn it around and read the ingredients. And if you don't know what that word means, Google it. And then we learn in the workshop I teach them about different words and what the actual ingredient is. And then I run a little quiz to say, right, which of these ingredients are vegan and which are not. And then somebody usually wins a prize. So it's fun and interactive. They get a chance to win a prize. They get a chance to ask questions. And I'm quite open and honest as well. So I just say, right, this is my experience. I'm not saying my experience is going to be everyone's experience. But yeah, that's what I usually do. Wonderful.
And you also have, at least you had a cooking show on TV, right?
I had a cooking show in America it still repeats, for 4 years. Yeah, so I used to fly back and forth to America to record those, yes.
Okay, and obviously you have tons and tons of great video recipes on your YouTube channel.
Yes, and I would love for people to subscribe because I post every week, Sunday at 12 noon UK time, but I want to upload more videos, so I'm uploading more regularly now. So it's because I just went through some videos that I hadn't posted yet, so I'm just trying to do even more recipes and so forth. Yeah, and reviews of, because it's vegan food and lifestyle the channel is about. So it's about recipes as well, and really good ones for people to cook, but also lots of hints and tips as well, like how do you cope if you're the only person who's vegan in your family at Christmas and things like that. So I do videos like that.
Perfect. So since you became vegan, have you had any difficulties in your life because of switching to a vegan diet? Any inconveniences?
Not major ones. The only thing is sometimes if you go to a conference, they'll supply sandwiches and they'll put the vegan and the meat sandwiches on the same tray right next to each other. And I try to be calm and be friendly about it. And I'll say, that doesn't work for me. And they don't get it. And I say, okay, let me try to put you in my shoes. If that was horse meat, and I'm just assuming you don't eat horse, and those were horse meat sandwiches, would you be happy with that next to your sandwich? They go, oh no. I said, that's how it is for me. So you might as well. And they go, oh, okay. And I just say to them, it doesn't work, because I understand that they don't understand, but I always try to, instead of getting annoyed, try to look at it as a learning opportunity and a way to kind of help others to help me and help them to learn. So when they meet another vegan, they'll be more educated on how to do it. That's one thing. I went to an event, an award ceremony, and the hotel said they were going to have a vegan option, but the lady organizing it said to me, Suzanne, can you just go in the kitchen and just ask them what they've done, because I'm not convinced they've done it. So when I went in there, he said, oh, you're a vegan cook. Yeah. I said, so what's the vegan option, please? Well, we haven't actually got one. I thought, oh, dear me. And there was about 8 vegans. So I said to him, right, the event starts in an hour, so let me help you out. I said, have you got any chickpeas? Yes, we've got chickpeas. I said, have you got any vegetables? I said, yeah. I said, do you have any seasonings, curry powder and stuff like that? He said, yeah. I said, make a chickpea curry. That's really quick, really easy. And then all the rice, vegetables, everything else that you're giving everyone else, that's all suitable for vegans. Do that as the vegan option. Unfortunately, I was one of the sponsors of the event, and I was sponsoring the dessert. So I'd already brought the dessert. So that for the vegans, so that sorted that out. But there are challenges and problems you get when you're a vegan. But I think a lot of the time it's how you deal with it and how you approach it. Sometimes you just think, oh, for goodness sake. But a lot of the time you have to kind of rein it in and just think, right, I'm going to try to make this an opportunity for others to learn.
Yeah, perfect. And how often do you get people, especially lately when you started to show more vegan options, more vegan recipes on your YouTube channel and on your cooking shows, how often do you get people who are surprised that vegan food can be rich and healthy and tasty? How often do you get such people?
All the time, because I've got, I do Facebook lives, YouTube lives and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I've got a lot of followers who are not vegan. And a lot of them say, you know what, I'm not vegan, but I'm going to try that recipe. I didn't realize you could make that. A lot of people are surprised because a lot of people still, unfortunately, equate veganism with flavorless food. And I say, well, only if you can't cook. And I said, it's about being creative and also thinking of ways to veganize the recipes you already love. So if you love lasagna, you can make a vegan version and you can make it to your taste as well. So yes, I get that all the time. And I think it's just an education for people to see that just because it's vegan, that doesn't mean you have to throw away the flavor.
Yeah. So, and there is a statistic that says that about 84% of newly vegans will eventually go back to vegetarianism or even to eating animals. So it is.
How much percent?
84% of those who tries their vegan diet for the first time, they will eventually go back to vegetarianism or even to eating animals. So there is some problem with the retention of newly vegans in modern vegan community. What do you think? What might be the reason for this?
I think it's about a mindset. Sure. If you want to be a vegan and that desire is greater than your desire not to be a vegan, you will be a vegan. To be honest, I'm surprised at the statistic. I didn't know. And I've been a vegan for 4 years. It never even occurred to me. Mm-hmm. But again, in fairness to those people who have tried it and stopped being a vegan, it can depend on where you live, because I live in London. Veganism is not too bad in London at all. But when I traveled to Norway, I really struggled. So I'm not saying it's not good for vegans. Maybe just where I happened to go, it wasn't good for me. But I think it all depends on where you are. But then you have to learn a new set of recipes. Because I always say to people, if you're becoming a vegan, start slowly and phase it in. So what I say to them is you get yourself a folder, and as you find vegan recipes you love, put it into your folder. So when you have a day when you think, I don't know what to cook, you go back to your folder and think, oh yeah, I made a lasagna that day. I made a shepherd's pie the other day, and it will give you ideas. And meal planning is really good. So I think people struggle because they're maybe not around enough other people for support, or they're not sure where to look, because Facebook has many vegan groups and lots of vegan recipe Facebook groups as well. So it's about doing your research, doing a bit of research and knowing where you can go to for support as well. Transition slowly, and as you go, if you transition quickly, you're more likely to have that problem. But if you transition slowly over a period of weeks or months or even if you phase it out over a year, it will be much easier because it's more sustainable. Because when you're transitioning from one thing to the other, if you do it too quickly for something like that, which is a major part of everyone's life is what they eat, you just have to start slow, and you're teaching yourself almost a new way to eat. So, don't be too hard on yourself and think, oh, well, I don't want to have animals anymore, so I'm going to cut it out from this day and never have an animal thing again. That's good if you can do it, but you want to be able to sustain it. So I'd say start slow, build, and you will be able to sustain it.
Okay, perfect. So how people can connect with you? Can you tell about your social media presence, your website? How can people connect with you?
I'm on YouTube, so please subscribe to my channel. YouTube, it's Kirly-Sue's Kitchen, Kirly spelled Kirly, and Sue, S-U-E, Kirly-Sue's Kitchen, if you put it in and subscribe to my channel. I'm on Facebook, again, Kirly-Sue's Kitchen, Twitter, at Kirly-Sue Kitchen, Instagram, at Kirly-Sue's Kitchen. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Google+. I think I've covered all of it. And my website as well is Kirly-Sue's Kitchen. And if you sign up to my mailing list, I've got a mailing list, top right-hand corner of the website. There's a mailing list and there's a free document there about veganism that you can get.
Yeah, and how often do you send your newsletter to your email subscribers?
I send it out weekly.
Okay, and so usually it's announcing new videos on your YouTube channel, some news. Okay, okay, perfect.
Recipes, special offers, what's going on, things like that, yeah.
Yes, I'm enjoying watching your recipes on your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Very, very good. And I encourage everyone who listens to this interview to check it out. It's very, very good. A lot of great recipes on that YouTube channel. Okay. Sue, thank you so much for finding time for this interview. I appreciate your time. Yeah, I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I much appreciate it.
Okay, my friend, thank you so much for being with us today. To find out more about Kirly-Sue, her social media accounts, her website, please visit veganbreakthrough.com/12 to see the show notes page. Take care.